That evening, Elena transformed our dining table into a command headquarters. Tom's records, Mrs. Violet's violations, and our growing files spread across the surface like battle plans. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Over 90% of Karen's enforcement targeted minorities, veterans, and anyone who didn't fit her suburban supremacist vision. Elena's phone rang constantly, each call following the same precise routine. Professional greeting, careful questions about documentation and timelines, polite appreciation before hanging up. She was systematically contacting every neighbor in Karen's crosshairs, building a network that felt distinctly prosecutorial. By Friday afternoon, delivery trucks brought boxes marked confidential judicial correspondence. Elena signed personally and arranged everything in her office with scientific precision. All weekend, the house filled with the sounds of printers, shuffling paper, and the methodical organization of someone preparing for legal war. Sunday evening, I peeked into Elena's office. She sat surrounded by legal documents, timeline charts, and evidence portfolios that would make federal prosecutors jealous. The air smelled of fresh ink as she worked past midnight, constructing something far beyond a neighborhood dispute. "What exactly are you building?" I finally asked. Elena looked up, and for the first time since this nightmare began, her smile held real anticipation. Karen's about to learn that some battles can't be won through intimidation and fraud. Outside, Karen's porch light glowed as she conducted another frantic damage control phone call. Unaware, Elena documented every mistake. Her third month of harassment revealed the true depth of her suburban sociopathy. She wanted to destroy us financially, slowly, and publicly, recording our humiliation for entertainment. The certified letter arrived Wednesday morning, thick as a court summons. Karen had calculated our supposed violations to exactly $3,900, a number surgically chosen to inflict maximum pain without triggering protections Elena clearly understood. Pay immediately or face a property lien and potential foreclosure. But her real power play was the payment plan. Avoid the lien by publicly apologizing to the neighborhood, admit we were disruptive, and submit to monthly compliance inspections. She wanted us crawling on our bellies while she live-streamed it to Facebook. I stared at the extortion letter while my disability check sat unopened on the counter. Medical bills already had us eating ramen twice a week. Elena insisted we couldn't afford a lengthy battle. The irony burned. A disabled veteran losing his home to a wannabe dictator whose biggest sacrifice was a manicure appointment. Karen scheduled her emergency assessment meeting with military precision. Exactly 72 hours notice, 2 p.m. Thursday when most working residents couldn't attend. Her plan was obvious. Push the lien through using only her allies and hide behind democratic process. Thursday afternoon, I entered the stale community center alone. Elena claimed an unavoidable work commitment but promised everything would resolve favorably. Karen held court with her two board allies live streaming to her Facebook echo chamber. "Mr. Santos, you have 15 minutes to present your defense." I spread Elena's research across the folding table. City codes, violation comparisons, photographic evidence of Karen's own infractions. Karen dismissed it all with practiced contempt. "Rules are rules, Mr. Santos. Your pattern of violations demonstrates disregard for community standards." The prepared apology letter sat waiting like a loaded gun. Karen wanted me to read it aloud on her Facebook livestream, confessing to failing to respect community values and lowering property standards. Facebook comments defended us, but Karen ignored them. "Two choices," she said, savoring her power. "Full payment today, or read the apology and accept our enhanced monitoring program." Then Elena walked in. She wore professional attire I'd never seen. A black blazer, leather briefcase, moving with an authority that shifted the entire room. Her heels hit the linoleum like a judge's gavel. Karen's triumphant smile flickered as Elena sat calmly in the back row and began taking notes. She no longer looked like a neighbor. She looked like the most important person in the room. After 20 minutes of Karen's performance, Elena stood. "Mrs. Peaton, before finalizing this vote, you should review additional documentation." She handed Karen a manila envelope bearing an official seal I couldn't read. Her hands trembled as she opened it, her face shifting from confusion to recognition to pure terror. This information can't be accurate," she stammered. Elena returned to her seat without a word, jotting another note. The live-stream audience watched Karen's confidence evaporate. Whatever Elena delivered hit her harder than a subpoena. Whispered consultations with her lawyer grew increasingly frantic. Finally, Karen postponed the meeting pending legal review and fled the room clutching the envelope like it contained her death warrant. That night, neighbors saw Karen's house blazing with lights past midnight. Frantic internet searches, panicked attorney calls. Meanwhile, Elena organized her office with the satisfaction of a chess master executing checkmate. "What did you give her?" I asked. Elena smiled. Her complete housing discrimination history from previous neighborhoods. Serial discriminators leave very long paper trails. Outside, Karen's desperate calls continued past 2 a.m., unaware her 8-year reign of suburban terrorism was ending. Friday morning, Elena sat across from me, still in her blazer. "Marcus, there's something about my work you need to know." She opened her leather portfolio, and for the first time I saw what was inside. Court documents, legal briefs, official correspondence from the state Arizona family court system, business cards reading, "The Honorable Elena Santos Martinez, Family Court Judge, Housing Division." My mug froze halfway to my lips. "You're a judge?" She nodded. 15 years specializing in housing discrimination and civil rights. Recently appointed to the State Housing Appeals Board. I stared, stunned. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Judicial ethics. I couldn't use my position to fight Karen directly. Everything had to be gathered as a private citizen experiencing discrimination." Suddenly, everything made sense. The late-night book club calls, the research weekends, the boxes. She'd been working with civil rights attorneys, gathering precedents, building a case. What I gave Karen was her entire discrimination history from 3 neighborhoods, 8 years of patterns. My stomach dropped as Elena described Karen's unfolding legal nightmare. A real estate business under investigation, multiple families filing complaints, HOA board members facing personal liability up to $100,000 per incident. Then came the bombshell. The $3,900 lien threat was Karen's fatal error. Retaliatory enforcement against a protected class is a federal crime. Every violation Karen issued had been building evidence for her own prosecution. That Saturday, our living room became the headquarters for Operation Karen Cleanup. Mrs. Violet arrived with a box full of violation notices. Tom brought a folder thick enough to stop a bullet. Jake and Sierra brought screenshots of Karen's deleted posts. Elena turned our coffee table into a war room, commanding the space with courtroom authority. "We're not just fighting a neighborhood bully. We're dismantling 8 years of systematic housing discrimination." She explained how HOAs that target residents by race, disability, veterans, or sexual orientation expose board members to personal federal liability. Each discriminatory action was a separate federal offense. Karen owed more than she'd earn in her lifetime. She trained us to document evidence with forensic precision, explained the difference between patterns and isolated incidents, and laid out a 3-pronged attack. 1. Complaints to HUD, the State Real Estate Department, and the Civil Rights Division. 2. A coordinated federal lawsuit. 3. A recall election to remove Karen permanently. Then Sierra asked, "Wait, there's embezzlement too?" Elena produced financial records showing Karen had secretly authorized $40,000 in HOA legal fees without member approval, draining community funds for her personal defense. Karen hadn't just broken neighborhood rules. She had broken federal law. And Elena had spent 2 years building the perfect trap.